Welcome to Blackbriar Gaming. Today we're here to talk about the new information we have for the upcoming release of Horus Heresy 2.0. From official and leaked sources, we now have a better idea of the timelines, products, and prices for the initial Horus Heresy releases. There's two things we've received this morning, one official, one leaked. We'll look at the official one first. So we've got this article from Warhammer Community, and it says here that we should expect the initial event for those box set reveals and the initial rules reveals on the 7th of May, which is not that far away. We're talking about just over a month. Super exciting. So what does 7th of May mean for likely releases after that? Well, I dare say the pre-release will either happen on that 7th of May weekend, more likely it will happen the week after. It will probably be a 2-week pre-order window, I dare say. So we're looking at an early June release for that big box set that we've seen leaked months and months ago. So that's pretty cool. So not too far away, early June. And we'll also get to see the rules in their finished form. It sounds like on that 7th of May piece, I don't know how much of the rules we'll get to see, but hopefully people on the ground in Warhammer World will be able to take some cheeky snaps and give us a better idea of what the rules are looking like for Horus Heresy. We've obviously seen a bunch of leaked rules for them already, but those were, of course, playtesting rules, so it'll be nice to see them once they've been firmed up and then revealed to the public. The other piece that the Warhammer Community article touched on was an event happening at Warhammer World for Horus Heresy on the 23rd and 24th of July. So that'll be great to see. Interestingly, they said the people that attend that event will be playing 3,000 point games. Now, we usually don't see GW games happening at that point level. What that indicates is that Horus Heresy will involve some slightly bigger games, more traditionally at any tournaments, organized tournaments, and will encourage that higher point level. That's not overly surprising. The Horus Heresy is obviously full of a bunch of expensive vehicles, expensive both cost-wise and points-wise, and war machines and units. I mean, when a Primarch costs 500 points, that 3,000 point mark is definitely more appropriate for being able to get those really cool units on the table. So that's interesting, and pretty keen to see that July weekend play out, just so we can see how the armies interact with their new rules, and what a meta might look like for Horus Heresy. This will be one of the earlier events, I dare say, in that formal format. So it'll be cool to see what people bring and what's hitting the top tables for that event. So that's the Warhammer Community article. Pretty interesting stuff. I just want to say it's great to see Horus Heresy news hitting Warhammer Community so frequently. Every day it seems like we're getting something cool for Horus Heresy, which after the last few years of only seeing something every few months is a very nice change, and is no doubt getting lots of people super hyped for Heresy action. All right, so the other thing I wanted to talk about today was a bunch of information that was leaked on Fayette 212. So this involves a bunch of timelines, products, and prices that we should expect early on in the Horus Heresy releases. This is the first time we've seen an indicative rumored cost for that big box. The big box is apparently named the Heta Gladius launch box, and will come in at a mighty £240. So that's obviously a boat ton of cash, but considering the amount of miniatures you get in that box, that was always expected. For a conversion, Australians were probably going to be expected to pay $500, $600 maybe dollars for that big launch box. But when you're talking about, from memory, 40 Marines, 10 Terminators, a Spartan, and a Dreadnought in there, Contempted Dreadnought, that $500 to $600 mark was always going to be expected, and will still actually include a bunch of savings for better or worse. So it's looking like that launch box. The rumors are saying released in June, which matches that June release date that we were talking about before, that Warhammer Community hints at, with that May 7th pre-reveal, going into then the pre-orders and then the releases happening a few weeks after that. So nice to see the rumors being aligned and confirmed to that community article. So in June, we're looking at that launch box. It also looks like we're looking at a standalone rulebook release, and then the 3 codex compendiums that we've heard talk about. It looks like they're doing it with a Loyalist compendium, a Traitor compendium, and then a book for other Age of Darkness armies, including Loyalist and Traitor factions from those armies. So there's been a lot of chatter that we won't see Imperial armies drop right at the start, or we might not see Mechanicum. That's great to see, because I do love me some Mechanicum, and I'd love to see a bit more of a focus on Traitor Mechanicum, Dark Mechanicum, and what that might look like. Alright, so that's for June. We get the release launch box. Then moving into July, they'll go with the 3 levels of starter sets that we've seen them do for their existing game systems. So the bigger one, the medium one, and the smaller one. Looks like they're releasing a paint set and it gets started with Horus Heresy magazine, which would be great to get that community going and for new players as well, even though some of the more seasoned veterans might not be that interested. That's July. Moving into August, we get the release of the standalone tactical squad. That will no doubt be the Mark 6 armor, noting we already have other marks in plastic. And we also get a Deimos pattern Rhino, wonderful, and Space Marine Legion Praetor. They reckon it's not the same model that we've seen, the one with the giant axe and the sun things going on and the studs all over him. They reckon it's a different Praetor. I reckon we can expect a lot of different looking Praetors to drop. Some will look rather traitorous, some will look rather loyalist, and that's just fine. That's exciting. More Praetors, the better. So that's August. We get a tactical squad, Rhino, and a Praetor, standalone. Then we're looking at September. So we're looking at quite a far way away. This is a long release window. But in September, a bunch of stuff's dropping. So you've got the Deimos pattern Predator, and then a bunch of upgrade sprues. It looks like, we can assume those upgrade sprues are going to be in plastic. I assume everything we're talking about here is being released in plastic. And they reckon there's upgrade sprues for Sons of Horus, Imperial Fist, Blood Angels, Emperor's Children, White Scars, and World Eaters. So not all the legions to begin with, but some of the fan favorites, and ones that we're seeing at the Battle for Terra, more importantly, or the Siege of Terra, I should say. So noted, that's the setting that's been rumoured, that we're going to see things for, and it looks like this rumour is confirming that there's going to be a real focus around the Siege for Terra. Then it's got a bunch of other products, releases without date. So what we're looking at there, all plastic, once again, is the Vindicator, the Kratos battle tank that we've heard about, the Land Raider Spartan, Contemptor Dreadnought, Space Marine Tactical Squad bundled with a Rhino, and then Rhino Squadrons and Predator Squadrons. So we did hear initial rumours that pretty much all vehicles can be squadroned in the new rules that are coming out. And this looks to confirm that through the way that they're buying things as well. You can see from the prices there, it looks like things are going to be expensive. So that 240 box comes out at pretty good value. We'll do a value, I guess, analysis at another time. But that's really cool to see. Notably, something we can't see here in the leaks is a Leviathan Dreadnought coming out in plastic. Now, if you've been on the Forge World website lately, you would have seen that the common or generic version of the Leviathan Dreadnought is up for last chance to buy, along with a lot of other items. Now, most of those items we can see in these leaks as coming out as a plastic version. The Leviathan Dreadnought we cannot. So it's safe to assume that over the next 4 to 6 months, maybe more, we're not going to see a generic version of a plastic Leviathan Dreadnought. So, if you're interested in getting that Dreadnought and not using one of the Legion-specific Leviathans, which are pretty fancy and pretty covered in intricate detail, so if you want something a little more plain, I recommend grabbing that Leviathan from Forge World while you still can. So, lots of information coming this morning. Very excited for Horus Heresy being released pretty soon, or at least us getting some real decent information on the 7th May, and then the release is coming a little after that. And that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for listening. A reminder, we are a new channel, so every subscribe and like helps us reach a bigger audience and create more content. In the meantime, keep those dice rolling and get hyped for Heresy.